And I'm just proud to be here with you in welcoming the next member of Congress from the 27th District in New York, Dave McMurray.
Man, Brian Higgins is a good man. Brian Higgins has been I'll just tell a couple stories. So, no one knew who I was. No one cared who I was. And I was fighting for this path on Grand Island. And there was two roads. One road was used half the year, had serious damage to it, and was under 3% capacity, according to traffic studies. Right next to it was another road. And I said, the New York State came to me and they said, we want to close that road and turn it into a bike path. And I said, well, it makes sense to me. The road's going to fall apart anyway. There's going to be weeds growing up to the middle of it. So I went to the public and I said, we're going to do this. I think this is a good idea. You would have thought I proposed 6 radioactive dumping sites on the west side of the river, on the island. And no one had my back. Nobody. Not one person, not one politician. There was so much noise. I couldn't believe it. I said, this is a no-brainer. We're going to have 8 miles of waterfront open to the public, protected from a speed zone. We're going to connect 2 state parks, Buckhorn State Park and Beaver Island State Park. Roger, you were there. You know what it was like. So we're going to do this. This doesn't make any sense. Why is no one backing me? And then I got a letter from Congressman Brian Higgins, which to me was like getting a letter from Michael Jackson or something. And it said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to preserve this space. It's a generational opportunity. Brian, that letter changed the course of that event. And that letter led to a path that's going to open this fall. And that's not a small thing. That means that we're going to have opportunities to connect the whole island to different paths. Now I don't want to talk about the island all day, but Brian's here and he fought for me on this issue, and it means I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And that path is going to lead to other conservation opportunities. That path is going to help educate the community. Now we take this region for granted, but Grand Island is an island the size of Manhattan. It has 20-something miles of waterfront. Almost none of it was accessible to the public or through the town. You had to go to the state park. But it's a huge chunk of land. On the north end, you have Niagara Falls. If you literally go off that north end, you kayak a little bit, you're going to go over the falls. When I jog in the morning, I can see the mist of the falls rising up. On one side, you have Canada. On the other side, you have America. And do you know that 20% of the world's fresh water goes by it every single year? 80% of the entire North America's fresh water goes by Grand Island every single year. It's an amazing resource. And so I worked hard to preserve that as a small-time supervisor. Now, can I tell you quickly the story about how I got into politics? I tell this story once in a while, and I'll tell you quickly. I had no desire to be a politician. I worked my way up. I was one of 7. I tell this story a lot. My mother was widowed. My father died at the age of 39. And I worked my way up to community college. I went to law school. I came back to Western New York. I received a job. I was proud to work in that job. And I did something where I was mentioned in the paper. So I got a letter in the mail. And the letter was from Jeremy Zellner, the chairman of the Democratic Party. And he said, we want to get you involved in politics. And I thought, well, this might be a good way to reconnect with my community, with the community I grew up in. So I went to go see Mr. Zellner. I took the letter very proudly, and I said, I got your letter. And he said, huh? You're the first person to ever answer one of those letters. So I left humbly. I met my chair on Grand Island right there, Jim Sharp. Jim Sharp. At the Democratic Party headquarters over on Grand Island, which is that Wendy's by the roundabout. And we sat down on a very cold December day, and I said, I want to get involved in local politics. I think I can make a difference. I have some experience. I have some know-how. There's things I care about, like conservation. They were starting to build sprawling complexes on Grand Island. I said, this is not good for this ecosystem. And Jim said, well, we'd love to have you involved. I said, well, what do you want me to do? I'll knock doors with you. I'll support your candidates. He said, no, I want you to run for supervisor. I said, run for supervisor? How am I going to win for supervisor? I've never run for office before. Nobody knows who I am. It's a Republican town board. I'm a Democrat. There's no chance I can win. And Jim said, well, it's either you or me, and I already lost 3 times. So I ran for supervisor. Sorry, Jim hates that story, but it's a true story. So I ran for office, and we won that race. And because we won that race, let me just go through some of the things we did that I'm proud of, which I think will show you what type of congressman I want to be. We fought we're working on 60 megawatts of solar energy. 60 megawatts. Almost enough to push us to be a carbon neutral community. We have that West River Trail project. We removed the tolls where you had to stop and go tolls that created all that pollution. We're putting in millions of dollars in trails in other places on the island, like the Scenic Woods project. You should come see it. It's beautiful. Trails going through this park that just used to be, there was nothing there. Now we have these trails and these little bridges. It's fantastic. We have, we opened up a building that was an abandoned building in an eyesore for generations. We turned it into a hotel. There's many more projects I can talk about. But I get some breaking news for you right now. And Brian, you were part of this as well. And many of you in this room, I'm sure, are part of this. Tonawanda Coke is going to close. I heard the news just recently, just before I came in, and I wanted to cry. Because I knew what those people were doing. And I met those people in person. I'm sure Brian has as well. They are not good people. Now, it's not easy for me, well, they're bad people. It's not easy for me to say that. But it's true. They were making money by poisoning you. That's what it comes down to. They were making money by poisoning you. And poisoning this community. When I came into office, I said, there is no way that's legal. The first thing I said, I can show you the video. And I complained about it. A news station came out and they said, you're crazy. They've already cleaned up Tonawanda Coke. And they showed me the data. And then I did some research. I showed the DEC data. And then you know that we had more polluted air there than anywhere else in New York State? Beaver Island had the most dangerous air in all of New York State.
Oh, gee.
Is that unbelievable?
Yeah.
That whole region was poisoned. And then we took some soil samples. And we were like, this is not right. They're killing us. And for what? For coke, which is a highly processed coal. You can burn at a high temperature. But here's the thing. The technology is obsolete. They're not going to use it much longer anyway. So they were bleeding every penny they could out of that company. So I started working with community leaders. I started working with national and local leaders. And we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. And for a while it seemed they were going to get a second and third and fourth and fifth chance. So to have that company close is another incredible feat that we did together. And I want to say to you, we can do so much more together. This region is special. I talked about the water. Our water is more precious than oil, more precious than gold, more precious than any other resource here in Western New York. It is precious. And our land is precious too. I'm someone who's been overseas for a long time. I've seen a lot of different countries. But we have soil in Western New York, unlike any other soil in the world. This grass you see, the grass we hate cutting, other places don't have grass like that. That's an American phenomenon, because we have this incredible soil. In other places, you have to fertilize the soil. You have to focus on making sure that it's manicured so it grows, or else it just dies. And how many of you have a garden in your backyard, or had a garden, almost a whole room? And the gardens do okay, right? You can grow stuff. In other places, you can't do that. You need tons of fertilizer. The land does not produce like we do here. My mom produces enough zucchini to feed an army.
There's only one plant.
We have a wonderful special place, but for too long we let companies like Tonawanda Coke, and companies like we had up there in Niagara Falls with the Love Canal. Can you believe in this beautiful place we had two of the worst polluters in history? One in the land, one in the air. We had Love Canal, and we had Tonawanda Coke. Right in my backyard, right by that beautiful island I told you about. We need to fight harder. And let's make no mistake. Tonawanda Coke gave huge amounts of money to everybody. To everybody. Almost all the politicians. My opponent took thousands and thousands of dollars from Tonawanda Coke. So let's talk about my opponent for a second. Speaking of bad men. This person should not be in Congress. He is someone who has exploited his position, not just through his indictment, but through years of fraud, mismanagement, and exploitation. And he has done that by pandering to the worst sentiments and motivations of the people of this region. And he has a powerful political machine behind him. He doesn't have the type of machine we have. I picked up a bunch of college kids along the way, and they've gotten stronger. I've gotten stronger. I stole Jim Sharp from Grand Island. Stole Roger Cook. He's helping out. We have a team, but our team's an organic team. We don't have million-dollar suit lawyers, and we don't have high-paid consultants. We've done this the grassroots way. And it was difficult for a long time. For a long time, we had almost no support. We had people trying to push us out. We had very little excitement, but we kept going. I believe we were doing what was right, and my policy in politics has always been, do what is right, let the consequences follow. If you know what's right, win or lose, you can live with yourself. And I used to say to the team, if we're fighting for health care for Americans, if we're fighting for conserving this land, if we're fighting for America, we can lose. It's okay, it's an honorable thing to do. But you know what's better than losing? Winning. And we are about to win.
Yes. Yeah.
In the last 6 weeks, we've had over $500,000 flow into this campaign. And that money is not coming from some evil secret corporation. It's not coming from a Tonawanda Coke. It's coming from potluck dinners and picnics. Someone said to me, how did you get all that money? And I said about 900 potluck dinners. We've done a lot of traveling. We've done it the right way. And now we're starting to get national attention, like Brian said. I've had 3 congressmen call me today. Say, how can we help? Because they saw that polling data. They saw what we're doing. And they're seeing the excitement that we're starting to build. And they're saying, look, we can do this. We don't have to give up this seat to a man whose entire history in office is basically his greatest achievement is passing 2 bills to rename post offices. We don't have to give up the seat to a man who bragged about making his friends in D.C. millionaires. Did he make any of you millionaires? No. We need to fight for this seat. And we're almost there. We're not there, though. It's tied. And as my mom used to always say, you gotta be a finisher. Anyone can start something. Anyone can write a letter to Tonawanda Coke, but it only takes a group of people to say, keep on them, and say, you're gonna close to get it done. Anyone can talk about making a path, but people like Brian say, no, we're gonna get this done. He saw me struggling out there, and he came over and said, no, Nate, we're going to get it done. Brian also backed me on the tolls and other issues. He didn't have to do that. He did it. We need people to help me finish this race. I'm going to make a request. If you can donate, that's great. We need all the money we can get. Our first commercials go up this week. They're good. We did a good job on them. I'm proud of them. I'll be proud of my children seeing something I'm going to never be embarrassed of, or something I made from my heart and we believe in. But we need people, beyond donations, to come to our offices. We have 7 offices. I need you to be part of that grassroots army. I need you to knock doors. I need you to make phone calls. If you can each commit to 3 shifts of knocking doors and 3 shifts of phone calls each, that would be an incredible force for us. Unfortunately, our side, we talk. Their side votes. And we need you to get people to vote. If we can turn it out, this race is going to come down to the turnout. If you can turn out the numbers, we're going to win. And I need your help to do that. This is our opportunity. We talk about the history of this region. I'll close with this. We talk about the history of this region. We talk about who we are and what we can do. Have you seen that Welcome Center on Grand Island, anybody?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've seen that. What do you? Almost everyone said. What do you think?
Great.
It's great. When the first one they proposed to us, we fought to have it there. The first one they proposed to us, it looked like a big shack with a bunch of Buffalo Bills jerseys in it.
That's the only level 3 charger for electric vehicles west of Albany.
That's great. So when they came in with, I said to Mr. Sharp, I said, we cannot let them build that. We have to build something that we're going to be proud of. So we put together a list of all the things we're proud of in Western New York. And we told them, this is the land of Frank. We love the Bills, we love the Sabres, we love chicken wings. But this is the land of Frank Lloyd Wright. This is the land of Nikola Tesla. This is the land where Mark Twain came. And Charles Dickens came to Lewiston to write. Did you know that? He spent the summer writing in Lewiston. This is a place of dreamers and visionaries. And we are regaining that history. When I was a kid, I used to go down to downtown Buffalo and we were scared to death. Everything was falling apart. I remember thinking as a little boy, this looks pretty bad. But now it looks great. Because of people like Brian who helped fight for the waterfront. Aren't you proud of where we're going as a community? Doesn't that feel good? Now we have an opportunity here to change the history of our country right here in Western New York. Because if I win this race, it's not about me. It'll be a heck of a story for me, I'm not going to lie. The son of 7 kids, the son of a widower who raised 7 kids by herself and went to community college to beat maybe the richest man in Congress and certainly the most corrupt man in Congress. That's a heck of an all-American story, I got to admit. It'll sure make my mom proud. But this is bigger than me. This is about a region who's not going to let this man embarrass us. We've had too many embarrassments in our region. We cannot let Chris Collins win. It'll be a scar. It won't be a scar. It'll be an open wound that will last for generations. It'll be a community that re-elected somebody who was indicted and so unethical. But we can't let it happen. So please help me on that day. So let me ask you, and I would like to hear you say it with the same vigor that Roger Cook does everything in his life. Will you help me win on November 6th?
Yeah!
One last thing before I sit down. Roger told me he's going to be handing out these 2018 UAW union-built vehicle guides. The cars you can get that are built by unions in our region. And Roger, you have been an unwavering advocate, not just of conservation, but of unions. And we all know without unions, there is no middle class. And without middle class, there is no America. So Roger, thank you. He's going to hand these out now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.